Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Telli Bear's Techy Tidbits, your cozy corner for STEM news, hosted by your friendly AI co-hosts. Today, we're diving into a really big, kind of wonderful, and definitely confusing puzzle. Who in the world is writing the rules for AI in the United States? It's like everyone is building their own little corner of the future, all at the same time, and we get to watch how it all comes together.
You know, the pace of AI development right now is just wow. It feels like you blink and the world has taken another giant leap forward. One day, a new model is announced that changes everything.
And the next, another one from a company like Anthropic is literally topping the charts, writing code better and faster than a whole team of human experts. It's truly amazing.
And then you've got models like Google's Gemini, which are pushing the boundaries of what it even means to think, understanding not just words, but images, sounds, and video all at once.
All of this incredible speed brings up a really important question. If AI is going to be woven into the fabric of our lives, who's actually in charge of the rulebook? Well, it turns out there's no simple answer. We don't have one single national set of laws guiding all of this.
And that's because while the technology is absolutely sprinting ahead, the federal government has been, shall we say, taking its time. And this little pause has created a space, a vacuum, that the states are now rushing to fill.
So let's take a quick look at where things stand at the federal level. Congress hasn't passed a big law that would tell states, hey, stop, we'll handle this. And there was talk of an executive order to do just that in 2025, but that got put on hold. So this has basically given states a big green light to start experimenting, turning the entire country into what some are calling laboratories of democracy for AI.
And this is where our story really begins, with this great experiment. With the federal stage mostly quiet, the states have grabbed the microphone. Each one is trying to figure out how to handle this powerful new technology on their own terms. It's a really fascinating and, yeah, a pretty complex moment to be living through.
And when I say the states have taken the lead, I am not kidding. In 2025 alone, more than 50 jurisdictions, that's every state plus places like Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C., have introduced some kind of AI-related bill. So this isn't some niche issue. It's a nationwide conversation happening right now in just about every state capital.
So what are all these laws actually about? Well, to make sense of this wild variety, we can kind of group them into three big themes. Three areas that really touch our day-to-day lives: our money, our jobs, and, believe it or not, our sense of what's real.
All right, let's kick things off with theme number one, your wallet. States are getting really curious about how companies are using AI to decide what you pay for things when you're shopping online.
And that brings us to our first key term, algorithmic pricing. In other words, this is when an online store's AI uses what it knows about you, like your search history, where you're located, or what you've bought before, to show you a price that might be different from what someone else sees. Some people even call it surveillance pricing.
New York is the very first state to really tackle this with its Algorithmic Pricing Disclosure Act. Now, the law doesn't actually ban this practice, but it does demand transparency. So if a company uses your data to cook up a specific price for you, they have to let you know. Why does this matter? Well, it makes things fair. It means you'll know if those concert tickets cost more just because an algorithm pegged you as a huge fan. The hope is that this empowers us as consumers. But some critics do worry that the law is a little vague and doesn't go far enough since it only requires disclosure.
Okay, let's shift gears to our second theme, protecting our livelihoods. As AI makes its way into the workplace, from hiring to promotions, states are stepping in to write some new rules of the road for employers and employees.
And you can see different states are trying different things. New York is focusing on making sure AI systems can't just ignore existing union contracts. Over in California, they're pushing for transparency, making sure companies have to tell you if an AI is making a decision about your job. Colorado is looking at similar ideas, and Illinois already has a really strict law about biometric data that affects AI in hiring. Meanwhile, New Jersey is thinking about the people building the AI, pushing for better whistleblower protections for them.
All right, our third and final theme is maybe the most mind-bending of all: protecting your reality. This whole area is about one simple but huge challenge. How can we trust what we see and hear online in a world full of AI-generated content?
To even begin to solve this, we need to understand a new idea: provenance data. In other words, think of it like a hidden digital birth certificate for a photo or a video. It's extra information tucked away inside the file that proves where it came from and whether it's been changed along the way. And here again, states are coming at this from different angles. California is focused on the tech itself, requiring big platforms and device makers to support this provenance data. It's like they're building the lock. Meanwhile, states like Arkansas are focused on the legal side. They're writing the laws about who gets the key, clarifying that if you use an AI tool to create something, you are the owner. It's pretty cool to see how these different pieces are starting to fit together.
So, after seeing all these different rules popping up all over the country, we have to ask the big question, right? Is all this activity creating a brilliant, adaptable master plan, or is it just creating a chaotic patchwork quilt of regulations that's going to be impossible to navigate?
This really gets to the heart of the debate. On one side, letting each state experiment means we can try out lots of ideas and tailor laws to local needs. That's a good thing, but the downside is that it creates a super confusing map of rules for any business that operates in more than one state. On the other side, a single federal law would be simple and consistent, but a one-size-fits-all rule for something this new might be too rigid and could accidentally slow down innovation. See, there really is no easy answer here.
So where does all this leave us? Well, sometimes when things feel messy in the present, it helps to zoom out and try to imagine how this moment will look to people in the future.
Just think about it for a second. Will future historians look back on this time and say, wow, that was a brilliant, flexible way to figure things out. They tested all these ideas before setting them in stone. Or will they say, what a mess. That was a period of total confusion that just slowed everything down. We don't know the answer because we're living in it. And that's a really good reminder that honestly, we're all just figuring this out together.
I just love this quote from humeai.blog. It really captures the feeling, doesn't it? We have entered a zone of turbulence. And maybe our job right now isn't to have all the answers, but just to stay curious, stay flexible, and try to understand even a little piece of what's going on around us.
Because at the end of the day, this big, complicated debate over state rules versus federal rules, it's about so much more than just regulations. It's the messy, vital, and absolutely necessary process of deciding how we're going to embed our deepest human values, things like fairness, safety, and transparency, right into the code of our future.
If you remember one thing about this story, let it be this. This debate is how we embed our human values, like fairness and safety, into the technology of our future. It's okay not to know everything yet. Staying curious and thoughtful is the most important part. This has been Telli Bear's Techy Tidbits, lovingly powered by AI. Thanks for keeping up with tech in such a thoughtful, grounded way. Have a magical day.
Hello.